Exciting times here in Queenstown. The night skiing has started up at Coronet Peak. There's an organic ice rink that's been born or reappeared out in Arrowtown, and we've got a special guest on today's show, a guy James Holman. Apparently started off filming porn. Now he's tapped into the skating world and it's awesome. More on that in just a minute. Come join us. Welcome back to Harry's for another instalment of Queenstown Sports Show. As we said, very special guest. He's actually just rocked up right now. James Holman, come on down.
Ahoy.
Ahoy there.
How you doing? All
good. We talked to world-renowned filmmaker James Holman. But first, sports news. We'll start with Central Rugby, and Wakatipu have regained top spots in the Central Premier Rugby comp after beating Upper Clutha in Shelbyville over the weekend.
Rugby though, who really cares?
James, that's probably enough. You thanks. 34-19, big game. Matt Ash dictated terms better than Trump out there, so well done Matt, and well done to Arrowtown as well, who defended the White Horse Cup, beating Alexandra 41-8. The Dart Engineering Wakatipu Wanderers came from behind at halftime to beat Excelsior 26-19 in Gore.
Woo!
And ding ding, there's a derby match coming up this weekend, Wakatipu versus Arrowtown at the Rink ground, 3 p.m. And the Wanderers, like a derby?
Oh, derby.
Well,
derby?
Phonetically it's derby, but apparently it's actually pronounced derby.
Don't know about that. I can't even talk.
Derby.
I'm
Derby,
more nervous
derby.
about doing this than I was doing the news, like national news. Like this is more nerve-wracking. What's that about? Anyway, what sport are we talking?
Still on rugby.
Oh, again, who cares?
Sky City Stampede.
Care.
Here we go.
About the Sky City Stampede.
How good was their weekend? So they swept the
Botany Swarm. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've still not been to see them this year. Is it too late? Is it over?
Not too late. They've got a bye this weekend, but you can catch them in 2 weeks. They're home again, taking on the top of the table. It's the other Auckland team. I don't know if they got a name. And soccer, the Queenstown Association.
Everyone cares about soccer. Let's give this a bit more hype.
In soccer, the Queenstown Association football team went down to Kashmir Tech 5-2. That was their first game in the Southern Football League, which is like a South Island-wide comp.
Oh, right.
The Queenstown Association football team play Southland United at the event centre this Saturday at 2:45. Maybe give them a couple chahoos and a hoot and a holler. And lastly, thousands of skiers and snowboarders welcomed night skiing up at Coronet Peak Friday and Saturday night. Grooving along to a bit of Shafu, King Kapisi.
It was pretty awesome. I was up there. There was like 3,500 people there.
Whoa.
Pretty good vibes. Big lift lines. It was good. It's real good.
Time to check out what's been going down in Arrowtown. The recreation of an organic ice rink that hasn't been seen for a number of years.
As two ice hockey heavyweights battled it out at the Queenstown Ice Arena on Thursday, here in peaceful Arrowtown, their line of thinking took a more reminiscent approach.
Well, Jane's kids were slipping and sliding down on the ice down at Main Street, and we knew that we had lots of photos of the ice skating rink that used to exist down in the very same spot. So Jane just posted one of the old rink and one of her kids, and then that solicited a whole response and people talking about the halcyon days of ice skating in Arrowtown, which started sort of late 1950s, early 1960s. Days of skating, Jimmy Wilcox, obviously, bit of water on the top that day. A couple of guys, Alan Hamilton and Jimmy Wilcox, they had heard that Cromwell had got an ice skating rink, and so they thought, well, what, an outdoor rink, why don't we try and get one in Arrowtown? So they did it down in Main Street beside the Arrow River, pumped the water in, and eventually they got it right and formed this rink. So they had hut, skate hire, toilets, music, and all of a sudden the thing took off and just thousands of people would come every weekend. You can see the buses that have come up from Invercargill. Look at the cars here, the number of cars and the people on the rink. I came up as a kid in Bible class trips from Invercargill. Apparently if the music played, that meant it was open, so the kids would listen out, and if the music drifted over town, they would come down and skate. And then they were told they had to take the water out of the town supply rather than out of the river, and that sort of sunk it because town supply was drawn up from a lower depth and didn't have as much oxygen in it, and oxygenated water freezes much better than the water out of the town supply. So.
And this book is just available here?
Yeah, and Hemi, the guy that wrote it, is one of the guys that set up the ice skating in Arrowtown. So he's a legend. There's something like skating under the stars, or at night, rugging up and mulled wine, and that's cheap and family friendly. So maybe it'll happen again. I don't know.
For now, the Woolcocks Green remains an historic site, but locals still use it, not for ice skating, but for shoe sliding.
Wow, James, that was a thing of beauty.
Ooh, wasn't it just? Those ducks, beautiful. I love ducks. Ducks are my favourite animal. Ducks on ice.
Have you seen ducks try and some of the greatest viewing, like dogs trying to run on it as well.
It's fantastic.
James Holman, hell of a portfolio. You've done work with Kinetic Media, Diaries Down Under, Ngaitahu Tourism, Destination Queenstown, Ultimate Hikes, Tourism New Zealand, the list goes on, but you've just recently come back from Iraq, of all places.
Yeah, 3 weeks in Iraq building a skate park for Make Life Skate Life, who I've volunteered for the last couple of years now.
Your role as a filmmaker,
Yep.
but obviously you're downing tools, you're getting physical and helping create some of these parks sort of come to life as well.
Well, I mean, there was like maybe 4 hours out of 3 weeks where I worked really hard. I did make a point of documenting the fact that I did do some work, so maybe we can cut to that now. Swipe in, swipe out.
And with that, you tasted, not with the photo, but with that work, you tasted a bit of nationwide notoriety. You got picked up by Seven Sharp and, hit the big time.
Everyone loves to get on a bit of ramp to rail action, but how many fully sick tricks are they pulling in Southeast Asia?
Or, say, the Middle East. Not many, apparently, if any. Until a Queenstown filmmaker and his skate park charity rolled into town. Mike Thorpe with the man getting the whole world on board.
From the waist up, James Holman looks like he's come from a war zone. And, in a way, he has.
Yeah, it was really cool to have that kind of like exposure, and not for me, I mean for the project, because it's good to like make sure that we get the projects we do out to as many people as possible, and to get that much more support for the next time we go somewhere.
So the project, is it a case of picking the most gnarliest places or having a look at some gnarly places in the world and be like, yeah, let's try and build a skate park there?
I wish it was, but no, we kind of just go to places around the world that we know have like a small skate community, and then I guess now Make Life Skate Life's at a point where it's very well known in that world. So people from all over the world literally like email or Facebook us and say, hey, we've got a skate community, but we've got no like support, we've got no skate shop, no skate parks, can you come and help us? And that's how they all come about, yeah.
Is it dangerous? Were you shitting yourself a wee bit heading over there?
I'd done a lot of research. Our friend had actually worked there for a year teaching English, so we kind of knew like what the deal was. But there's still nothing like flying into Iraq and you're like, I'm in Iraq, like this is a bit mental. The Kurdish region where we were is super safe, like, and the reason you see so much special forces and police and people with guns is for protection, and yeah, it's nothing like the Iraq that you would expect.
And what sort of effect does building these skate parks have on the communities there?
I think it's awesome what it does, in all of these places around the world we go, whether it's like Nepal, Myanmar, Jordan or Iraq, you're giving like a space for like these few skateboarders to come together, but then we always leave a container full of skateboards for like kids to get involved and families to come along and try it. And every single time it generates this huge community of like boys and girls, often like mixing for the first time, which I think is really important. And it just creates this foundation for like a community of skateboarding and like arts and culture to grow.
Sometimes skate parks get the reputation that it's a mecca for drug dealing, for graffiti.
Well,
thoughts on that?
One day after we built the park in Iraq, everyone had tagged their names to each individual ramp and transition.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard to find them and be like, yo, what the fuck? We just built this park for you. Keep it clean.
And how's the skate scene here in Queenstown?
Zero idea, because I don't really skate that much.
Too close to home, yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've noticed like severe lack of mini ramps recently. There used to be one, it wasn't that many, but there used to be one at the church in Frankton.
Yep.
There used to be one in the Cardrona Valley at Benny's place. There
Yep.
used to be a road
Revolver.
one at Revolver.
Back
There's
in the
another one
day.
over in Calvin Heights. So there's like a shortage. So it's
Yeah.
sort of, maybe the next one. Maybe you build something in Terrace,
Get
the third world of Central Otago.
I like it. Yeah.
Hey bro, thanks again. Awesome to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Cool to hear your story, and there's some links here, or some things here that you can search to see what's going on around there.
How's the hair? Are you doing super slow motion?
Je ne savais pas que vous étiez amateur de messagerie rose. Vous êtes comme tous les enfants.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. We just had a few texts through, a few emails. Wanted to know what was the background story with James and his porn filming expertise. What was the story with that? Is it you started out behind the camera, or were you on set?
I'm quite a small person, so I wasn't really appropriate talent for being on set. However,
You could have been the dildo.
I could have been that guy. I got approached to do a TV show like skateboarding for a network that was like launching a new entertainment channel, but their like bread and butter was like Babe Station, Sex Station, Lads Lounge, Babecast, like all these like channels in the UK. And they were like, oh, if you come in and just film this, like then you're here, and we'll move you across to the skate stuff when it starts. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. So I spent most of my days filming like pretty ladies jiggling, and
So it wasn't hardcore,
I had to edit some stuff.
really
that
hardcore
was,
stuff.
Can you get pictures of Elisa taking it like a champion with the pneumatic dildo? We just need 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, kill me. Sure, so I'm like in the server, finding that nonsense, and yeah. And then we like forward it on to the phone networks in Europe that pay for that shit.
Got to start somewhere. Hey, what a gorgeous spot in here at Harry's in front of the fire, and that's almost us for another week. Don't forget, you get $10 pizzas here on a Tuesday, and this Wednesday, State of Origin, bit of rugby league, Game 3. Can Queensland prevent the clean sweep?
Who cares?
If you do, you can come down and check it out here at Harry's. Don't forget, if you've got anything to contribute, you can email us tv@lwb.co.nz. Catch you next week.